Going to draw Nooshy dancing because she's an awesome dancer and I love the way she helped Johnny out in the Sing 2 movie. Let's start with some action lines. I'm going to draw a vertical line. This is going to be this part here. Then I'm going to draw a line how far it comes from there. So if I'm looking, I can remember, I can measure. So if I want to measure with if you look at past videos I've done, you can see that I'm going to measure that out. So if I want it the same size as that, I can bring that down a little bit, and then we can work out, well, if that's that length, then we can work out this length. This needs to just come out a bit. Now that sort of almost flows through on the same angle, but this actually comes up slightly more, and I'm looking at nearly my whole pencil line to there. Yep, so I'm pretty happy with that end. That's the end of her foot. Now the size of the head, let's have a look at the size of the head. So if we've got the body from the top there to there, her head is actually a reasonable size. So and the head, if this is a curved line here like so, and then this is the arm, now you can see I'm just mapping on some basic, what we call action lines, guidelines, just to get the proportions looking good, and that's roughly where her head's going to be there. So at the moment I've got like a skeleton sorted out. See how I went with that? I've got four squares here for her head fits in roughly. 4 squares roughly there as well. Let's have a look at the angles here. Yep, that slightly comes up, slightly comes back. Yep. Okay, you can see that I reckon this part of her needs to come in slightly there. Now I'm going to just start doing some of the details. All right, now we're going to start with the hand part. I'm starting with her wrist and the wristband on her shirt, and I'm just following along using those guidelines as a reference to get the angles looking good and trying to map in all the curves and shapes of her arm, and then I'm going to work my way through the other details. This is her body coming around. That's where her body is. This is her leg. About halfway down her leg is where her socks start. So I'm just mapping on, doing it lightly, looking good. And she's got her tail poking out her pants. That's sort of like that. And then this leg comes down. She's got fairly thin legs. Obviously being a pretty good active dancer, she's fairly fit. There's some stripes on her socks, top of her socks. Okay, she's wearing a hoodie, so let's draw the hoodie on, curve it around. Now I've got that guideline, I know where it goes, and it comes down underneath here. Now on this side, you don't see her hoodie, you see her fur, and then you pick her hoodie back up and around there. And I'm looking at the negative spaces in between here, what that's creating when I'm drawing. So it's not just the positive spaces of what I'm actually drawing, it's the relationship between the two. Super important. There's a curved line there, and then it comes down, rims out. Now this is the other side of her face, but what I'm going to do now is she's sort of got her eyes through here, and her nose would be there roughly, but she's sort of pushing up her face a little bit with her hand. So what I'm going to do with her hand is I'm going to draw an oval shape. This is just helping me. I'm just drawing some guidelines at the moment. So if that's the eye line there, and her eye's going to sit on there, her nose is going to be here, so her mouth's about there. Yep, so this is going to be her first finger that she's sort of got up near her face. Then her second finger comes in like that, and then her third finger, which is part of her hand, like so. And then her thumb is a shape like so. And there's her hand. Now if I'm not happy with that, I can change that a bit later on. And then this is her part coming through there. And then we've got some fur lines there. So just doing some little lines like so, like I did with Mr. Crystal in one of my previous videos. And the mouth, her mouth is going to sit there. Her nose is going to be like a triangle, rounded triangular shape like so. A couple of little nostrils. And she's pushed up her face a bit. So this is like a part of her face. The mouth on that angle. Now she's got her nose coming out like that, and then her eyebrows, and then her eye sits. One's going to sit a bit closer because it's pushed in a bit. Now her hoodie comes down like this and around, pops in through there, a couple little fold lines. Wait until I put all the colour on, that's when she's going to look amazing. Coloured eye, and then the dark eyeball in there. That's basic face of Nooshy, looking pretty good. Now she's got her shoes, so that's curving up and then in and then back up for her feet. Now, because this one's further back, it's not going to be as big as her hand because her hand's closest to us. So that's called foreshortening. And then that's her boot. I would imagine that's her boot. Now we've got to draw her other boot. And there we have Nooshy looking pretty good. Let's draw Nooshy's hand. So she starts with her thumb and a little claw through here, and then her first finger comes down like this. She's putting all her weight through her wrist, pretty strong, and then she's obviously got some pretty core muscles. What a great dancer she is. Love this movie, and she's one of the cool characters. I'm going to draw a bit of the dance floor. Now it'd be a bit full on to draw all the characters in behind her, so I'm just going to leave that blank. But what I am going to do to show you how cool she is to draw the old-fashioned Ghetto Blaster with the tape deck. Look how cool that is. I'm going to draw that sitting over here to add some interest. So let's look at the shape of that. Basically just a rectangle shape, and we might draw it, make it a little bit of a box sort of shape, but not too much. Just see a little bit of the side there. All right, so I've got it looking about the right size. Circle, circle, maybe a bit smaller over there, just mapping it in. You can see a shape through here. I can see there's a top bit through the top here. It's like all the old radios where you had to tune it manually. A couple of little speakers, little bar through here. It's going to be interesting to see how I colour that in. Some round knobs, like we used to have to turn up everything manually back in the day for all the, you know, AirPods and everything else that has been brought out. Let's put this cassette tape in there. If anyone's old enough to watch this and remember creating your own mixes off the radio, you could record songs off the radio, which was pretty cool. Now you just get onto Spotify and play whatever song you want. We used to have to wait for it. All right. Oh yep, we've got the play buttons and all sorts of stuff down here. Remember the little symbols? That's going to be interesting. How many buttons we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And as I said, you can tidy up any extra details that you want to put into here later on. Not sure what that actually says, but there's some writing there. There is, in relation to her, that's probably a good size for the Ghetto Blaster. I'll put some sort of knob on the side just to make it look cool. All right, it would be time for some outlining. Thanks for joining me today in drawing Nooshy. I hope you had a great time, just as much as I did, and I hope you picked up some tips and tricks to help with your drawing. Remember, keep practicing, keep drawing, and you will become a better drawer. It's persistence and patience and tips and tricks. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye. Cheers. See ya.